On May 25, 1961, President John F. Kennedy, in an address to the U.S. Congress, issued a challenge to the entire country when he said, "I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth." This July marks the 50th anniversary of the day America met that challenge, just 8 years after the president threw down the gauntlet. But this monumental feat could not have been accomplished without having and using data that was made actionable. There were innumerable logistical issues to tackle, like timing the launch when the relative positions of Earth and Moon were optimal, choosing the right landing site that met all the right conditions, supplying the needs of the astronauts, calculating the fuel consumption, figuring out how to get them from the Earth to the Moon and back to the Earth safe and sound. The list just goes on and on. Remember, the microprocessor would not even be invented until 1971. So the technology needed to conquer all these insurmountable obstacles had not even been invented. That simply did not exist. I mean, it's not like they could Google anything because the internet hadn't been invented yet either. So they just had to make this stuff up as they went. All of this exponentially increased the value of having data that's actionable during the Apollo program, enabling NASA to make the tough decisions, answer the questions, and ultimately meet JFK's challenge. Actually, they exceeded that challenge. Techopedia defines actionable insight as information that can be acted upon or information that gives enough insight so that the actions that should be taken become clear to decision makers. In other words, meaningful data that answers a question, helps make a decision, or solve a problem. It distinguishes from data that can actually improve things from data that serves as nothing more than window dressing or interesting trivia. You see, anybody can make a pretty bar graph, but can it help you make sound decisions? Does your development staff typically come to you with some snazzy new idea? Well, then how do you turn that flashy concept into an actionable visualization? Can you see the end result and turn your ideas into reality? Do you have the drive and the vision to figure out how to get from today to tomorrow before it becomes yesterday? American mathematician John Tukey once said, "The greatest value of a picture is when it forces us to notice what we never expected to see." What value do you see in your data? And what ideas do you have when you see it? Learn how you can capitalize on those ideas and turn them into reality by blending the internal with the external, leveraging them into a cohesive strategy for both the short term and the long term. Now, you may not be putting a man on the moon, but you can certainly put the heat on your competition. To that end, come see the 5 stages of the spectrum in action, discovering the difference between impact and influence and how that plays into making data actionable. So, what are those 5 stages? No, you're just going to have to come watch my presentation to find out. I'm Joe Perez, Senior Systems Analyst and Team Lead for the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, and I'll show you how to turn your idea into reality by making data actionable.